Hello, listeners. This is episode 8 of the Mu-ster Tech podcast, where I, Mike Mu, talk about tech every day. Yesterday, I got the new Amazon Halo. That is the newest entry into the fitness watch band market. It's not technically a watch. It really is just a fitness band, but it does a lot more than any other regular fitness band that I've used in recent years. How many of you guys know about a company called Basis? They got bought out, and their watch was really unique in that they were one of the first ones to use those little green laser LEDs to check on your stats and your vitals. And you know, since Basis came out, all these other watch band companies started copying them and using similar technologies to shine lights into your wrist and to check things. Anyways, they were way ahead of its time. And now Halo, I feel like, is also ahead of the competition when it comes to fitness tracking. Here's what it does. It measures body composition, your activity, your sleep, and something completely new is the tone of voice all through the band, which requires a subscription service. But the subscription service is included for 6 months. So it's free for 6 months for you to totally get into it, try it out. And then after that, it's going to be $3.99 a month plus tax. So far, it's been pretty interesting. Okay, I haven't really done the body composition part yet, but I've had to do the sleep tracking, activity tracking is all by itself. But the tone part's very interesting because there's no other product out there on the market that works with a band that is right on your hand for this price point. Talking about the price real quick. Right now it is $64.99 is limited time price only. There's a 35% discount on it, and it's only available through the early access period. So you got to actually request an invitation because it's limited release. And if you're lucky enough, they'll send you an email to let you know that it's your turn. So it's kind of one of those things, limited early release type of things. You're going to hit a home run with this because of its unique sensing. There's a whole section in here called Labs. There are science-backed experiments and challenges from experts like Lifesum, Sweat, and Headspace that encourages you to make better habits through things that you do that it then measures. And then it gives you an overall report at the end over the course of the period of time that you are participating in these labs. So I've only recently started with one of the labs, which was a little sleep lab where they were going to play back sounds of a relaxing sound in a bathtub. Okay, and then track how that affects your sleep throughout a period of 4 days. Okay, obviously, since I just got this yesterday, I haven't tried that yet, but I just started it, just checking out some of the features. But the tone is very interesting because what it does is there's a microphone on the watch band itself. Okay, and you first train the watch band and the app, basically the software artificial intelligence, to the tone of your voice and the way you speak by reading a couple of sentences, just similar to the way that you train your Siri or your favorite assistant device, and then it creates a baseline from that. And then from that baseline, then it analyzes the rest of your voice whenever you're speaking. Okay, so it does this periodically. There's 2 settings on here. There's one that it will check a little bit more frequently than usual. And when it does check that, it gives you an analysis about how your tone of voice was. You can mark special conversations by pressing the button before you have the conversation, so it gives you an idea how you sounded. Okay. What's interesting to me is that there are definitely people who think that their tone of voice is a certain way when it really is a different way. Okay, and I usually hear this a lot when because my wife is a career counselor and she's really good at her job. So she helps a lot of people through the whole job searching process and also interview process. Okay. So she helps evaluate and let them know about their tone of voice when they're speaking. And the people that need the help the most obviously don't realize that the tone that they're giving across could be either really relatively negative, could be harsh sounding, whereas you want to sound more confident or high energy, knowledgeable, focused. Okay, those are some sort of tones that you kind of want when you're talking about during an interview, for instance, for the most part, okay? Or happy, you could be sad, there could be certain things. But anyways, this analyzes it all and lets you know roughly what your tone is when you're saying a certain thing or during your whole entire conversation, roughly where you were at. And then it keeps track of this throughout the day so you can go back and take a look at your positivity and then the energy that gets relayed through your voice. That part is really, really fascinating to me, and there's nothing else that quite does that in a band format. Okay, so that alone I think is really, really awesome to have and to check out, and that alone might be worth it to just at least track for several months to see how your day is generally and how you feel, and the people you're around or the work that you do. When you communicate, your tone of voice really is a reflection of how you feel, right? Also, it's really simple to change how you feel by adjusting the tone of your voice. So if you see that the tone sounds really tired, non-enthused, non-appreciative, angry, right? All you got to do is you got to just say things in a better tone of voice, and that actually helps your mood and the people around you too. So there's a certain, I guess you can say a certain skill to it. If it becomes a habit, that's great. People in sales are typically, the good salespeople who are great customer service people usually have a fantastic tone. I'll give you an example. DMV versus going to AAA. For the same services that you need. I just went with my dad the other day to do a title transfer, and the AAA person was fantastic. She had a fantastic, positive, patient, knowledgeable, and confident tone of voice that just made the whole process that much better. Okay, even when she didn't know about something, it was still pretty uplifting tone of voice. And I really appreciated that. My dad doesn't speak English very well. I'm sure he really appreciated that too. At least he seemed really appreciated. So the whole process, still, it took about 50 minutes, whereas in DMV it might have taken 3 hours. But the point is that this is a very useful tool for people to have if you have to interact with anybody, anything really. So, okay, so that's tone. That's just one of the things that it tracks too. The sleeping part, I only did one night of it. I only had a fair night of sleep, and that's pretty much how I feel. Seems like I slept 5 hours and a half, which is less than usual, but, I was up a little late. And it has statistics that shows the graphs about my deep sleep, my light sleep, my REM sleep, and my awake sleep. These other apps that I've been using my watches have not been as detailed or as useful as the Halo app as well so far. Okay, it's just one night of sleeping. Nice new bar chart and an overall score makes it really easy to go ahead and look at. It tells me which stages I was stuck in, the percentages in more detail, the times to fall asleep, time awake, how many disturbances I have. Thankfully, I don't have much here. And my sleep efficiency was 86%, so that's pretty good. Right? It's just that my length of sleep was not great. The sleep temperature, it says it'll take a few days to set up. It's just going to try to figure out the changes in my body skin temperature. So anyways, the point I'm getting across is that there seems to be a lot more detail in the tracking. Unique features such as the tone. You got the labs, that science-backed experiments and challenges that is going to help you improve your life. There are two things that I feel I might not have agreed with. Okay, one of them is the screen. There's no screen. Okay, so there's basically only one button on here. It's got one button. It's got sensors down below. It's got a microphone. It's got the charging connector. I don't like the charging cradle at all. It's kind of big. And obviously the microphone to go ahead and record your tone of voice throughout the day. It's just, I'm a little bit surprised that the battery life is not as good as I thought it would be. Maybe it just takes a little while for the battery life to be fully conditioned. But after a night of sleep where I was fully charged, I woke up and it was at like 80%. Okay, so that's 5.5 hours later. So this is still one of those things where I would have to charge it pretty much every day for the way that I use it. Okay, one thing that might affect it obviously is the microphone. You speak a lot, it's going to pick up a lot of noise. That might be one of those things that's really affecting it for me. And with everybody, working from home, I'm working from home, I'm watching stuff. It needs to listen to everything and then filter out when it's me that's speaking. Okay, so it listens for your personal tone and not, let's say my wife, I'm having a conversation with my wife. She has a different tone. I have a different tone. It filters that all out and figures out what my tone is. So it's constantly listening and recording, which brings me to another point. Another thing is, well, you really have to kind of trust Amazon. Okay, so this stuff obviously has to get analyzed somewhere, and that's probably through the Amazon servers. So if you don't trust Amazon with these details, then you're not going to be able to take advantage of all the cool things I was just talking about, right? So one thing I'm going to try out soon is the measure and track your body fat. Basically, it will create, through the software in your smartphone, it will create a personalized 3D model to show you where you're at and how you will look. If you gain weight, your body fat composition goes up or goes down. It's pretty interesting. Haven't tried that out yet. I'll probably try it out later on today. And they claim that it's clinically proven that this is a better way to track your stuff, that it's also more accurate. And what you get from the 3D model, personalized 3D model, is a comparable clinical body fat analysis that's supposed to average about $80 per scan. So that's pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to try that out a little bit later and see how that works. Okay, so anyway, I'm so far pretty impressed by the Halo Band. I suggest that if you are interested in some of the things that I talked about, then you'll probably want to sign up for the invitation. So I have links in the show notes to check it out. It's called the Amazon Halo Band. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. And if you're interested in a full review, I'll probably start doing one of these after I try out everything, and it'll be on my YouTube channel. Just look up my name, Mike Mu. You'll find it there. Thanks for listening.